Welcome to The Explainer. Have you ever stopped to think about how a single idea born thousands of years ago can somehow travel across the world and completely change the course of history? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. How one ancient principle created this incredible ripple effect that honestly had massive world-changing consequences. So here it is, the big question we're going to unpack. How on earth did a philosophy from India that's over 2.5 millennia old become a central pillar of one of the most important social movements in American history? I mean, it sounds kind of wild, right? But the connection is there, and it is incredibly direct and powerful. To really get the ripple, first we have to look at the stone that caused it. And that stone, it's a core principle from the ancient tradition of Jainism. And this isn't just a philosophy, it's a complete code for how to live your life. The key concept here is ahimsa. But this isn't just a passive role like, don't hurt people. No, it's way deeper than that. It's an active state of being. It's this profound awareness that we're all connected, and to harm someone else is to create disharmony in yourself and in the world. It's peace as a way of life. And get this, ahimsa is so fundamental that it's the very first of the 5 core vows in Jainism. It's the foundation that everything else, truthfulness, not stealing, being faithful, and not being possessive, is built on. It is the absolute starting point. Okay, so here's where it gets really fascinating. This ancient code didn't just stay locked up in old texts. No way. It rippled through history in this truly remarkable way, passed from one great mind to another across continents and centuries. You can literally trace the line of influence, and it's crystal clear. It all starts with Mahavira way back in the 6th century BCE. Now, fast forward over 2,000 years. A Jain philosopher, Srimad Rajchandra, takes a young lawyer under his wing. And that lawyer? A young Mahatma Gandhi who took this idea of ahimsa and transformed it into a political movement for India's independence. And then Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. saw what Gandhi had done and had this light bulb moment, realizing that was the exact strategy he needed for his own struggle for freedom. And look, you don't have to take my word for it. These are Dr. King's own words. After a trip to India, he saw that nonviolent resistance wasn't weak or passive. He called it a potent weapon. He got it. He understood it was a moral force far more powerful than any physical one, an idea that traveled 2,500 years and across the world to reach him. Okay, so we've seen the huge historical impact. Now let's bring this down to a more personal level. Because Jain philosophy doesn't just give you a bunch of rules, it frames our spiritual journey in a way that feels surprisingly modern. Seriously, think of it less like a strict, rigid path and more like a kind of cosmic video game. So the idea is that your soul is on this epic quest for liberation. And to get there, you have to pass through 14 distinct stages, or gunasthanas. I just love this framing because it makes so much sense, right? It's like you're leveling up your consciousness in the ultimate video game of life. So what do these levels look like? Well, you start at level 1, basically in a state of ignorance and delusion. But you start to climb. By level 5, you're starting to get some self-control. Level 7 is all about constant spiritual vigilance. You keep going until you hit level 12, where you achieve this state of permanent inner peace. And the final boss? Level 14, total liberation, omniscience. It's a clear roadmap for self-mastery. So if life is a video game, where's the console? Where do you actually play it? The answer is, it's right here. Inside you, your own body and your own mind are the laboratory where all these principles get tested and proven. I mean, think about it. Your body is like a chemistry kit. Every single thought you have, whether it's joy, fear, or anger, releases a corresponding chemical into your bloodstream. This is why holding on to anger is so self-destructive. That saying is so true. It's literally like drinking poison and expecting the other person to get sick. It doesn't work that way. You're the one feeling those chemical effects. And this is where things get really mind-blowing. For thousands of years, mystics talked about these 7 energy centers along the spine called chakras. Now, modern science talks about the endocrine system, a network of glands that release hormones controlling our mood, metabolism, you name it. And guess what? They map to the exact same locations in the body. It's just two different languages describing the exact same inner reality. How cool is that? So let's bring this all together. We've gone from ancient India to American history, right into our own inner chemistry. But how do we actually use this 2,500-year-old code of nonviolence in our modern, crazy, everyday lives? Well, a really tangible place to start is with what's on your plate. For Jains, ahimsa applies to everything they eat. So, yeah, that means strict vegetarianism, but it actually goes deeper. They avoid root vegetables, things like potatoes and onions, because to harvest them, you have to uproot and kill the entire plant, not to mention all the tiny organisms in the soil. The goal is to just limit harm as much as humanly possible at every single level. And this principle also kind of forces us to look at our own culture, doesn't it? Like, why is so much of our media, our news, our entertainment just saturated with violence when we know it's dumping stress chemicals into our bodies? And in politics, ahimsa asks us to shift away from all the division and anger towards something called conscious politics, which is built on tolerance and kindness, even for people we totally disagree with. So the crucial point, the big takeaway here, is that the ripples from that one ancient idea are still spreading out today. It went from a spiritual teaching to a movement that freed a nation, to a code for how we can live our own lives, in what we eat, what we watch, and how we treat each other. And that brings us to the final, and maybe the most important question. This idea has shaped so much of our world, but its real power has always been in personal action. So the question isn't just a historical one. It's for you, right here, right now. What sort of ripple will you form today?